This is the kind of story that rarely gets told because the person it happened to was not famous, did not have a platform, and never asked for recognition. But the lessons inside it are worth more than most of the financial content you will find anywhere. I want to tell you about a man I will call Nonso. Nonso started working on the factory floor of a food manufacturing company in Ogun State in his late 20s. His salary when he began was just under 80,000 naira a month. He had no degree, he had no connections, he had no inheritance. What he had was a decision. The decision was simple. He would treat his financial life differently from everyone around him. Not dramatically, not loudly, just differently. The factory ran a second shift that most workers avoided. It was exhausting, adding hours to an already physically demanding job, and the pay was modest, a shift allowance of about 8,000 naira per shift, twice a week on average. Nonso took the shifts, every time they were available. His colleagues called it the ghost shift because the extra money seemed to disappear. No one knew where it went. They knew he worked the extra shifts. They saw the same worn shoes, the same modest lunch, the same bus home. There was no visible evidence of the extra income. Because Nonso was putting it directly into a carry-wise account he called untouchable. For 6 years, Nonso worked the ghost shifts whenever available, averaging about 60,000 to 70,000 naira in shift allowances alone. Every naira of it went directly into investments, money market funds initially, then gradually into a diversified mix including treasury bills and some NGX-listed stocks he researched slowly and carefully. He also, during this time, took a free online bookkeeping course, then a paid one. He became the de facto financial organizer for his church savings cooperative and learned from managing others' money. By year 6, his portfolio had grown to over 8 million naira. He had bought a small plot of land in a developing area of Ogun State, paid for entirely in cash from the sale of some mature investments. His regular salary had increased through promotions enabled partly by his bookkeeping skills, now well known within the company. He was not rich by the standards of Lagos Instagram, but he was free by any honest definition of the word. His emergency fund could sustain his family for over a year. He had no debt, he owned land outright, and his monthly investments continued, now larger than before. Looking at what Nonso did, a clear framework emerges. First, he treated additional income as entirely separate from his lifestyle. His shift allowances never entered his mental model of his spending income. They did not exist for lifestyle purposes. The moment they arrived, they left for the investment account. Second, he resisted lifestyle inflation completely. His core spending barely changed over 6 years, despite income growth. This is the most unusual thing about him, and the most powerful. Every raise, every allowance, every extra naira went toward building rather than upgrading. Third, he invested in himself incrementally. The bookkeeping course was not a grand pivot. It was a small step that opened a door. Then he walked through it and found another door. Skill investment compounded just like financial investment. Fourth, he was patient beyond most people's comfort zone. 6 years of working extra shifts, seeing nothing dramatically change in his visible life, trusting a process that was quiet and slow. Most people abandon long-term financial strategies not because they fail, but because the results are invisible for too long and the discipline feels unrewarded. Fifth, he used community structures. The church cooperative gave him financial management experience and a network of trusted people thinking collectively about money. Community-based financial structures are underutilized assets in Nigerian society. Nonso leveraged one deliberately. While Nonso was running the ghost shift, his colleagues were making reasonable, understandable choices. Some were sending money home monthly, large portions of salary going to family obligations without any remainder for personal building. Some were trying various investment schemes that promised faster returns and delivering only losses. Some were investing in lifestyle, better apartments, cars on hire purchase, social obligations, betting that looking successful would attract opportunities. Most of them were not irresponsible or unintelligent. They were making the default choices. Nonso was making deliberate choices. 10 years after Nonso started the Ghost Shift, he runs a small but profitable financial services micro-business from his compound. His children are in good schools, his family has land and savings, his future is not dependent on any single employer. What this means for you. You may not have a ghost shift, but you likely have some version of additional income opportunity, freelance work, a skill you can sell, overtime, a trade on weekends. The question is not whether the opportunity exists. It almost always does, in some form. The question is, when that extra money comes in, where does it go? If it flows directly into lifestyle, you are on the standard track. If it flows directly into a separate investment account, untouched, building quietly, you are on Nonso's track. The shift is not in the opportunity, it is in the decision about what to do with the opportunity when it arrives. Most wealth in Nigeria is not built by people with exceptional incomes or exceptional luck. It is built by people with exceptional consistency, who chose to treat extra income differently from everyone around them, who held that discipline longer than it felt comfortable, and who eventually woke up to the realization that the quiet account they had been feeding for years had become something life-changing. The Go Shift is available to almost everyone. The question is whether you are willing to work it, and more importantly, whether you are willing to make the income invisible until it becomes undeniable. If this story changed how you think about extra income, hit that like button and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment. What is your ghost shift?